George is called to the stand in Ohio court. Oh, and why she's called to the stand, FLEASA is giving real-time updates in Bonehead's chat. And the judge is made aware of it, and she ain't happy. Ohio court was stressful. There's no doubt about it.
It's always very stressful.
And it's very long.
Very long. We knew it was going to be all day, which court started at 9. Typically ends at 4, but the judge needs time to catch up on things she needs to do, so she's not going to take it all the way through 4. But there was a brief lunch. It wasn't even a half hour. It was like 20 minutes.
So after Shara was called as a witness in Ohio court, and then I was called as a witness in Ohio court, and both were cross-examined, we do take a lunch. Now, keep in mind, LIEnette has been reprimanded multiple times already by the judge. We take a 25-minute lunch, and I finally look at my phone, and I'm getting all kinds of messages, literally all kinds of messages, that FLEASA is giving real-time updates of what's happening in court in Bonehead's chat while he's live. So the very first thing I do is I give it to Eli, and I go, look, this is what's happening right now. Like, my phone is blowing up. Even Randy is messaging us going, this is happening right now. And Eli goes, we're going to deal with this. After lunch, we're going to deal with this. So we have all the screenshots. Now, FLEASA is giving real-time live chat updates of what was happening in court, and then she was deleting it after she found out everybody was taking screenshots. And it's all in the hands of the Ohio court now. And the judge has very clearly stated that there will be charges coming for the individual that's involved in this. So we get back into the courtroom.
Yeah, we get
after
back,
lunch.
Yes, after lunch, and it was at 1:15 p.m. And I'm waiting in the lobby, waiting to be called as a witness. And so I'm probably waiting for about 10 minutes, no more than 15 minutes. And then
the reason why you're waiting is because Eli is handling this all with the judge, and the judge says, I'm going to restate that there will be charges to everybody on Zoom that's participating in any way. She restates it. Now, we have all the proof, and the judge has it now too, what FLEASA was doing in Bonehead's chat. And the judge restates it to everybody. She's stating it to LIEnette and Cook, right? So really, she has to say it to everybody, but it's Crook and LIEnette that it really applies to.
And I do recall her mentioning that as I'm at the witness stand, where she has to remind anyone caught doing this will be held accountable. She may have not used those exact words, but she got her point across.
She said there'd be charges.
Yes.
They will be held in contempt of court, and there will be charges coming.
So I do remember getting on the stand, and it was cold in the courtroom, and I kept my coat on. I even asked the judge, is it okay? You mentioned that I don't have a thyroid, and is it okay for me to keep my jacket on? And I said, yes, is it okay if I keep my jacket on? And she's like, yeah, unfortunately, we can't control the temperature in the courtroom. And so Attorney Eli starts direct examining me, asking me questions. I don't remember every single question. I was on the stand, but basically just explaining the video footage that I took of LIEnette pulling out of her property, intentionally rolling the window down, communicating with me, saying so afraid, and then driving off. Had she just kept her window rolled up and went about her business, I would have never had to call Levy County Sheriff. I would have never had to take it to the Ohio courts. All I want is to be left alone. I don't want them communicating with me. I don't want them even looking in my direction. And so we played my clip, and then we played her clip, and we talk about how I got a hold of her clip because she too called Levy County Sheriff, turned in her evidence, and it was her video of her clearly rolling down her window, communicating with me, saying so afraid, and there's no passenger in her vehicle.
Now, this is what you should be thinking. Number one, LIEnette's an idiot. She gave Levy County Sheriff evidence of her breaking and violating the civil protection order. Number two, you should be thinking she should have been arrested immediately. She literally handed them the evidence. And this is dealt with Buttchamp and McIntyre on the stand. And it is going to be dealt with in federal court. We are pursuing absolutely pursuing. They're violating our civil rights. But at this point in time, keep in mind, LIEnette disappeared from Zoom. If you saw the previous video, LIEnette is still gone. And the judge interrupts the questioning, says, Miss Preston is not on Zoom. And then she says, I've got two people in the back room. And then all of a sudden you hear screaming, there, now I'm here. And it's LIEnette.
She just looks like a zombie. She is a hot mess. Zero etiquette. Something is wrong. Something is seriously wrong with that woman and that poor child. I just feel so sorry for that poor kid because she is just not mentally fit and never was. You ever meet somebody and just red flags just keep flying because something is off about that person? Well, that's LIEnette. 100%.
So there's a pause then. And this, once LIEnette is back on, the judge states there will be no recording, no broadcasting of any information, and any party will be found guilty. She already has the information. We gave it to her right before we started on the record again. And then we got more and gave it to her afterwards. FLEASA on Bonehead. Now they can both be held liable and criminal charges can come. And where's it coming from? I'm not broadcasting. She's not broadcasting. Eli's not broadcasting. Justin's not broadcasting. The judge isn't broadcasting. The court reporter isn't broadcasting. It's Crook and LIEnette. They're feeding the information. Is it from another device? Is it texting? Doesn't matter. It's illegal. And now Crook and LIEnette will be held liable. FLEASA will be held liable. And Bonehead will be held liable. I can't wait. I'm going to hand it over to you.
So we go over that video evidence, and no communication means no communication. Pretty sure that's how the protective order reads. Most protective orders read that way too. Later you'll see that Buttchump and McIntyre agree with that too. But funny how they didn't.
We'll get there. It's the best part.
Funny how they didn't do anything about
so good.
it. All right. So then we talk about how third-party contact with other YouTube channels that do it for views and content and money, like Two Fleas in a Pod. We've got Michael Volmit, and then you've got Paint Chips, and then you've got, we didn't mention Bonehead, but those were the top three that were mentioned.
The best part, their lawyer, Justin, agrees that all of these individuals, it's on the record, he agrees that they're all doing it for monetary gain.
Yes.
He agrees. He goes, I agree with you. It's on the record. I can't wait. Can't wait.
He names every single one of them by their name, knows that they have social medias. He's fully aware of exactly what we're talking about and the different ways of third-party communication that was happening. And so we addressed how FLEASA is LIEnette's PR voice, regardless whether they're talking or not. She made it aware publicly that she was her PR voice. LIEnette herself even posted publicly that directing traffic to Two Fleas to listen to that side of the story, and that's her voice. We addressed the interview that Volmit did with LIEnette and Crook, and how he himself took the time to email us to harass us and include the link. That's how we found out about the interview. If it wasn't for him emailing us, we wouldn't have known. And then we also addressed how the disbarred lawyer, who is a convicted felon, has made multiple threats towards Jeremy, mostly unaliving threats.
Pause! Because at this point in time, the judge screams. Screams is the wrong word. The judge very sternly.
Very stern.
You know, like when you would come home, mom was kind of softer, dad would be stern, and dad would be like, you do it now, or... Very sternly, the judge says, stop moving your phone or I'm turning you off, to LIEnette. Because she's... Listen, LIEnette is as high as a kite.
Yes.
There is no doubt whatsoever. There's points where she's literally going.
Yes. I watched her take her tall bottle of pills and then she swallowed one on camera. And later you see her eyes like rolling and she's either falling asleep or just high as a kite. I'm going to go high as a kite for sure. And then she tried to blame it on the child and that her phone fell down and that she was talking to she always blames the child. Always blames the child. And then, so then we talk about how FLEASA went live on her YouTube channel, drove past the old schoolhouse where we work seasonally all day long, looking for my vehicle, looking for me. What business does she have driving past the old schoolhouse if she was on Turd Purgatory helping them with their property?
That's what we call third-party violation. Now, FLEASA likes to go out there and say, oh, somebody talked to LIEnette. Say tug. That's third-party violation on Jeremy. There is no violation. I don't have a CPO on me. I can't violate something that doesn't exist. LIEnette, on the other hand, FLEASA is on LIEnette's property. Then, under direction of LIEnette CROOK, leaves the property. On the property, leaves the property, goes searching for us. Yeah, that's absolutely a violation. Broadcasting where we are, what we're doing, and then goes back to LIEnette CROOK's.
Live.
So stupid.
Live from her channel.
So stupid. And we have it all.
Yeah. So then we also talk about how I was made aware that Crook drove past the old schoolhouse the other day and pulled up into the driveway to film. He has every legal right to drive past on the public road, film if he wanted to, no problem. But the fact that he pulled his vehicle into one of our driveways, that's not okay.
Okay. Now, nobody knows this happened yet. So the day before court, I release a short video saying that Luthman just lost in federal case. We won in federal lawsuit 2 by default. Luthman didn't respond. Now, that shows that I'm clearly in Ohio. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I even say I'm here in my beautiful home in Ohio. I don't state where George is. So Crook, after knowing I'm in Ohio, goes over to the schoolhouse, pulls in front of the gate, and is filming. Twice he does this. 2 times. He has his hand out the window filming us. Now, Justin's going to ask George questions about this. How does that make you feel? Well, how do you think they feel? Who cares how they feel? They have civil protection orders against them. We don't.
Correct. Yes. He also asked me that, how would you like it if other people were driving by filming? And I said, we have plenty of people that drive by
all the time.
We're okay. They have every legal right to stay on the road and film.
They
don't have civil stalking protective orders against them, and they're not third-party communicating. We have so many people that drive past. They're not LIEnette's PR team. Do you see the difference here? And so he tries to get me to agree that us driving past our 70 acres to get to the old schoolhouse may be harassment for them. And I said, no, it's not. It's for our safety because they're known for brandishing firearms, and they've been recently open carrying, both of them. We film for our protection and our safety. And Eli asked me, do you ever post that online? And I said, no. I don't post it online unless they're violating the protective order. But we film for our safety and for our protection and for accountability if they do something that violates the protective order. And so he cross-examines. One of the questions that I found interesting that he asked me, because I had to explain that the 70 acres is 70 acres wide, and their acreage is like right there across the street, and that we have to drive past our 70 acres to get to the old schoolhouse. We also have to check on our 70 acres because there's been a history of meth heads vandalizing cameras. There's also been a history of meth heads stealing our drive-through sign. And there's also a history of hurricane damages. And so we're driving past our 70 acres from point A to point B. And unfortunately, we have to drive past their dump.
Because They stalked us.
Yes. So then he asked, well, why didn't you guys buy that property? And I said, what property? He said, LIEnette and Crooks. And I said, because we didn't know it was for sale. The moment we found out it was for sale was when she emailed us to tell us she's a super fan and just bought property across the street from us, and asked Jeremy if he could bring his tractor over to help them with a fallen tree because they can't get through the drive. You think he knew that? No. I'm glad he asked me that question, though.
He set himself up for failure so bad, not knowing the full history and the full evidence, and just listening to Deuce and FLEASA.
Yeah.
He set himself up so bad. He failed. He really did. He failed.
Yeah.
He tried, but he failed miserably.
Yeah. Especially since he wasn't prepared. Like, had his own clients prepared him ahead of time, maybe he would have had better questions during cross-examination, but a lot of his cross-examination questions backfired because he got to learn a lot of things that he didn't know about his clients. And so he brought up the post office incident, which they were found guilty.
Town Hall brought up Town
Hall.
And Eli objects and goes, listen, there's no need to rehash all of this. They've been found guilty of it all. And the judge goes, yeah, we're not going down this road again. They're already been found guilty. By the way, he tried jurisdiction with me. I didn't even mention that. Tried jurisdiction. Whoa, why didn't you get he kept saying, why didn't you get a civil protection order in Florida? And he goes, isn't it true you tried to get one there first and then LIEnette went and tried and get one? And I went, no, that's not true at all. What's true is we sent a cease and desist. We were in Ohio. She kept persisting, kept breaking it. We then filed for a civil protection order in Ohio, where our residency is. Then we took the civil protection order to Florida in court
to try to domesticate it.
Judge DeThomas sealed it and denied it. We had never gone in before Judge DeThomas and ever, not once, tried to get a civil protection order against LIEnette and Crook in the state of Florida before we tried to domesticate our Ohio civil protection order. Let me be very clear. We announced we're getting a civil protection order. We have a meeting at the court. LIEnette, the next day, runs to Levy County Courthouse to try and get a civil protection order. We get a date the next morning for our civil protection order hearing ex parte. We are granted the ex parte. We are then in court, and we are given the full civil protection order. LIEnette continues to go to Levy County Court to try and get a civil protection order against me. She denied. Until Judge DeThomas then approves it, temporary, and then he breaks the law. The appellate courts state he breaks the law. Illegal activity. And then it's dismissed. Never did we ever try and get one in Florida before trying to get one in Ohio. We went to Ohio. We were in Ohio. We got it in Ohio.
Yep. We even have dates of when that happened, and it was after we got the Ohio Civil Stalking Protective Order, where we had paperwork notarized. We took it over to Levy County to try and get this judge to take full faith and credit of our Ohio Civil Stalking Protective Order. And then he denied it and sealed it. It was open for maybe, I don't know, less than an hour. Which reminds me, when she took you to court to try and get an injunction on you, which is a protective order, that is now sealed.
Isn't that interesting?
Isn't that interesting? On the Levy County docket.
So Judge DeThomas involves himself in illegal activity and then seals it.
Yeah, but the contempt charges are still out there, which I find odd. Anyways, so then he goes on to cross-examine and says, well, with them being, I testified that I see that they're interacting in the live chats and that they're cheering them on for doing that. They're not stopping the third-party communication, LIEnette and Crook. They're actually championing it and encouraging it and not stopping it. And so he stops questioning me, cross-examining me, and then Eli comes up and he does more examination. And I don't remember all the questions. And then her attorney asks me another set of questions again. And then Eli comes up and asks me another set of questions again. And then he comes up and asks me another set of questions
And
again.
the judge is even like, listen,
I'm so
where
confused.
are we in re-examination? This is out of control right now.
And then finally he's like, I rest my case. I don't have any further questions. So then my testimony ended at 2:10. And again, I was brought in maybe at like 1:25, and I was up on the witness stand until about 2:10. So since I was able to testify as a witness, then I could stay in the courtroom, and that's when my notes kick in. And so the judge asks their attorney, are there any other witnesses that need to be called? And he says, yes, my first witness is McIntyre.
Hilarious. Now, there's some things that go on before that. There are some significant things that go on before that, before McIntyre actually takes the stand. And I apologize because we got to rewind a little bit, and I'm working a little bit. It's been an intense day. So LIEnette leaves again. Literally leaves again. And then she comes back, and everything George is witnessing or giving testimony on, LIEnette's going. Then she gets the straw. I cannot get this image out of my mind. She starts slurping on that straw like FLEASA slurps on chicken skin. I swear, the jaw action, the lip action, I will never get that out of my mind. It was horrible. It was full into it.
She probably has cotton mouth from all the pills that she's popping.
It was sick. It was so sick what she was doing to that straw. I mean, it was...
You can't unsee it, that's for sure. I mean, you guys saw it during her deposition. He ain't lying.
Okay. Here's the other thing she's doing. Again, I believe 100% she's high as a kite. She has a pad, and you can see it in the actual... And I'm leaning in, and I'm watching while she's up on the stand. And so she's drawing a picture up here, and then she writes, God grant me, and then it goes off screen. And then she comes back and starts tracing over God grant me. And then she goes down a line to accept the things. My apologies there. Accept the things. Now, I realize what she's writing out. The prayer, all right? The serenity prayer. But accept the things, and then the next line, and I can't make out what she writes. Now, I know the prayer, but I don't know that she knows the prayer. I mean, she misquotes literally everything, and I can't make out. So what I see is, God grant me, one line, accept the things, next line, can't make out the next word, two, and then she just keeps tracing over it, over and over and over again, while she's literally putting such a hurting on that straw in my mind. The action in the camera was sickening.
Zero etiquette. She's just
None.
a disgusting
Oh,
person
it was
in
bad.
general. I mean, are you surprised?
Does
it shock you?
It was bad. It was beyond bad.
I know you can't unsee that.
It still hurts, George.
And you'll probably have nightmares.
I'm scared to go to sleep tonight. Really am.
I'm going to try and cure that.
Just hold me. Hold me. Hold me.
Would you have rather seen that or FLEASA on the screen?
Neither. Neither. Sickest things in the world. All right, you do get to stay afterwards because the reason why all the witnesses are separated is so that one witness can't taint the testimony of another witness. Separation. So you don't want one going, oh yeah, what she said or what he said, which I thought was really funny because Justin kept screwing up so bad. Well, Jeremy gave testimony and said this and George wasn't in there for that. Why are you going to ask George about the testimony that I gave? She's not even in there.
Yeah. So Eli had to object. I've even said, I don't follow you. I wasn't in here. Like, he brought up videos that were shown, like, I wasn't in here.
So previously we showed a video. She's like, I wasn't here. I didn't see. So in that video, she's like, I didn't see what happened. I wasn't here. Mm-hmm. Now, meanwhile, FLEASA is giving full details live on Bonehead's live stream. And
I do have a question. Is she stupid or is she just dumb?
Both.
Well, who does that? She's just throwing herself under the bus, and she's throwing LIEnette and CROOK under the bus.
She's going to prison. She can do whatever she wants in prison.
I mean, a lot of people pray for that.
So George is done.
So yes. So then the judge mentions how there's someone in the back room as an iPhone user in the Zoom waiting room, and asked, "Please identify yourself, or you will be removed." And she said it's a guy in a plaid shirt. And we're going, Russell Meeks? Which Russell Meeks does show up in the back. And again, who cares? His testimony, Tina Haley's testimony, is completely irrelevant. It will be booted out. Russell Meeks' testimony, completely irrelevant. It will be booted out. Has nothing to do, this whole case is about LIEnette and CROOK violating and breaking the civil protection orders. Correct.
Russell isn't a witness to any of that. He'll be booted. Tina isn't a witness to any of that. She'll be booted. But God, thank you that we got Butt Champ and McIntyre. Oh my goodness, I can't wait.
We were really hoping that they would show up.
Oh my goodness.
Lo and behold, they showed up. So then he didn't identify. The guy in the plaid shirt who was Beecham didn't identify himself, so she put him back in the waiting room. She said, you didn't identify yourself. I'm going to put you back in the waiting room.
And we didn't know who it was. And I was like, she just said Russell Meeks. It's got to be Russell Meeks. He wears denim, buttons, button down. Yeah. No, it was Butt Champ. You can't make this stuff up. Judge says, Eli, any other witnesses? Now, Eli was only calling Shara, myself, and George. That's all we need. And the incriminating evidence is just overwhelming. It's just huge. At one point I was asked, how many terabytes of evidence do I have? This is a... How many terabytes is this right now? This is...
5?
No, it's way more than that. It's way more than that.
Let me see.
This entire external hard drive is filled with evidence. And I think this is like a 32... I think it's 32 terabytes. And to the point where I told the court we would never, ever be able to go over everything. We would never leave this room. That's how many times they have violated. And it's true. And Eli goes, at this point, we rest our case, which then turns things over to Justin. So now Justin gets to defend the case, and he goes, I'd like to call a couple sheriff. Okay. Please, this is the day we've been waiting for. Like, we could not wait for this. It was going to be insane, and it did not disappoint by any stretch of the imagination. So we still don't know who the guy in the plaid shirt is, which now you do know. It was Brett Buttchump. And McIntyre comes on first. McIntyre's in a patrol car. He's obviously working, and he's on a cell phone. And so I already leaned over to Eli, and I was like, listen, this guy has no credibility whatsoever. This guy's a cake decorator. He spent more time decorating cakes at a grocery store than he has in law enforcement. So Eli asks McIntyre, how long have you been a deputy? He says, 5 years. And what do you do? I oversee daily activities of officers in the county.
No, wait. Before you said Eli asked him. Actually, Justin asked
I'm sorry. Justin.
Because it's his witness.
So Justin gets to ask the questions, then Eli gets to cross-examine. Yeah. And Justin goes on to say, how many incidents have been reported by Jeremy Hales? And he goes, Jeremy Hales consistently reports incidents. And he goes, I have never found LIEnette or CROOK in violation of any law. And he goes, well, why not? And he goes, because the statutory requirements were never met. He goes, okay. So let's talk about January 19th, 2025, CPO violation. That's where CROOK double flicks me off, okay? So I drive by, minding my own business. He turns around, flicks me off. Goes straight up his back, flicks me off. And he goes, why wasn't Crook arrested then? And McIntyre goes, there's no probable cause of a violation. And he goes, in my opinion, Jeremy Hales is just trying to elicit a response in all circumstances, and he's doing it for YouTube money. So in other words, Levy County Sheriff has shown, number one, they're completely and totally biased. You get this? Jeremy Hales is filming this for money. John Crook completely and totally violated the civil protection orders. McIntyre says, I didn't arrest him because Jeremy Hales is doing this for money. Jeremy Hales didn't say anything to John Crook. I drove by filming. John Crook turns around, double flicks me off. I keep driving. I report the incident. They do nothing. Every incident that we have reported and have taken into court in Ohio, LIEnette and Crook have been found guilty. Yet Levy County somehow has done literally nothing. Now comes cross-examination, and Eli rips McIntyre apart. Absolutely rips him apart. Says, you're aware of the CPO, correct? Yep, absolutely. And he goes, you're aware, which one were you on call when a violation when Jeremy reports it? And he goes, well, Jeremy Hales said that John Crook flicked him off. Gave him the middle finger. And Eli goes, well, okay, well, you saw the video, and isn't this also true that you can take eyewitness testimony? And he goes, yeah, but the only eyewitness was Jeremy Hales. He goes, is Jeremy Hales an eyewitness to what happened? Yes, he is. Oh, okay. So you have a video proving what happened, which is very, very condemning. There's no question what happened. And Jeremy Hales told you what happened, yet you didn't arrest. Why didn't you arrest? And he goes, well, I didn't see that he was communicating with the middle finger. And Eli goes, so let me ask you this. Is communication allowed with the civil protection orders? McIntyre goes, no. He goes, would flicking the finger off at somebody, would that be communication? McIntyre goes, yes, that's communication. Then why didn't you arrest him? He goes, well, I didn't know what he was doing. Maybe he was scratching his back. Maybe he was adjusting his shirt. And Eli goes,
he said adjusting his waistband.
Oh, waistband. Adjusting his waistband. By the way, the video is very, very... This is John Crook in the video. Turns around, does this, and turns back around. His hands are up here. 2 fingers go up. And he never touches any part of his body, never scratches any part of his body. And Eli plays this for McIntyre over and over and over. And McIntyre lies and spins and spins. So he goes, so would you agree that John Crook looks at Jeremy Hales as he's driving by? McIntyre goes, yes. Would you agree that he turns around as Jeremy Hales is driving by? McIntyre goes, yes. Would you agree that Crook is not adjusting his waistband?
Or scratching his back.
McIntyre's answer is, possibly not. Literally, that's his answer. Possibly not. There is no question whatsoever what Crook did. Possibly not. Would you agree that his upper and middle back, that the fingers went straight up to his upper middle of his back into his shoulder blades? And McIntyre goes, yes, they were all the way up to his shoulder blades.
An intentional gesture.
Would you agree that finger going up is an intentional gesture to another individual? And McIntyre goes, yes, that's correct. Did you see the sign that said OCC? Now, keep in mind that this has already been contested in court, and Crook has been found guilty for creating Otter Creek Coward, a Facebook page, which he then claimed he gave to another individual. Yes. And he's been found guilty of that in stalking, harassment. And so he put OCC, Otter Creek Coward, in a sign, which that was reported as well. And he goes, yeah, I saw that. That's correct. And he goes, reports. Now, did Jeremy Hales report it? Yes, he did. And did Jeremy Hales make any statements to John Crook? Well, no, he didn't. Well, hold a second. You just said that Jeremy Hales was eliciting responses for YouTube money from John Crook. Yet you just told us that, number one, John Crook never touched his waist. He turned around. He made eye contact with Jeremy Hales. He turns around. Then his fingers go up in between his blades after you said that he was adjusting his waist strap. And Jeremy Hales made no communication whatsoever. Yes. Would you agree that you had instructions from your supervisors not to enforce the civil protection orders? Would you agree that you got an email from the state attorney saying don't enforce? Would you agree that you've been instructed not to enforce? McIntyre's answer: I'd have to view the files.
He says he does recall receiving an email.
Hold a second. So he recalls receiving an email, and he has to review the files. Oh my goodness! Guess what? They just handed it to us for a federal case.
Yes.
There's files.
He starts backpedaling. Backpedaling like this because Dan Owen's name got brought in. Oh my God.
These idiots.
He said he remembers. Oh my gosh. He starts backpedaling and then explains how there was verbal and email communication with the state's attorney's office, who is Dan Owens, on the decision on enforceable actions between Florida and Ohio. Oh my God. That moment was great.
They literally handed it over to us and said there's files in regards to this.
Yep.
How stupid of a cake decorator can McIntyre be? He will be held accountable in court. So Eli then goes on to say, was there a debate between the state attorney and the sheriff office in regards to how to enforce this, to enforce it? And he agrees, yes, there's a debate. And he says, well, if there was direct communication, since you've obviously seen the civil protection orders, would you agree that direct communication is a violation of the civil protection orders? He goes, yes, absolutely. Eli goes, would you be surprised if we have video of LIEnette directly communicating with George?
And he said nothing at this point.
Oh, I got it. He said, honestly, at this point, nothing would surprise me.
In his career.
And he goes, I can't testify in regards to this. Now, the video that we have is what LIEnette gave the Levy County Sheriff Office of her communicating directly with George, and they did not arrest her, and the judge is seeing it all unfold before her eyes. Eli says, did you speak to Crook? He goes, yeah. What did Crook say? Well, Crook said he was scratching his back. He was stretching. Eli says to McIntyre, you see him stretching in this video? We can play it again. Let's play it again. We're going to play it again for you. You know, I'm going to slow it down for you this time. McIntyre goes, well, his definition of stretching and my definition of stretching may be different than your definition of stretching. I'm pretty sure there's no definition of stretching when you turn around and you double flick off somebody that you have a civil protection order again. He goes, let's look at it again. Does it collaborate what John Cook told you and what you wrote in your report? And McIntyre states this. It can. Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness. I literally cannot believe what I'm witnessing and what they're handing us over, which is going to be one of the biggest lawsuits in the history of Levy County. They better get their act together. They will have nothing when this is all over. This is insanity.
I was waiting for Eli to say, does what you just saw in the video corroborate with what Jeremy testified to see what his answer would have been? Eli
was getting so frustrated because McIntyre was just trying to save his own butt, and it was running and spinning in circles. So Justin comes back over for re-examination or cross-examination. It's examination, cross-examination. He gets to come back. Eli gets to come back. And Justin says, I believe there was a temporary protection order on Jeremy Hale's, wasn't there? And McIntyre says he's made several attempts, but all have been denied. Let me be extremely clear. This is one of the biggest lies in the world. There have been no attempts, not a single attempt in Florida to get a civil protection order. There was an attempt to domesticate our Ohio Civil Protection Order in Florida, which Judge Grudge denied and sealed while we were in court with LIEnette.
So
That's it.
How would McIntyre know that? What proof does he have that you applied for it several times? It's hearsay. At this point, it's hearsay. And he's probably basing it off of what LIEnette told him or Beecham.
Wow. Can you imagine McIntyre in federal court?
You better show up with a cake.
The only dumber person was Butt Chump.
Oh, it was bad.
Oh my goodness.
I can't believe he's even the undersheriff. How did he get to that point, to that title?
Listen, I sat in one Sunday school class with him and realized in a heartbeat that this guy ain't okay in the head. This guy has no clue what he's doing. So guess who Plaid Shirt Man is in the background? It is none other than Brett Beecham, the undersheriff, who we like to call Butt Chump, because he makes such a butt out of himself, and he did not disappoint. So he's asked, what is it your role? He says, I supervised office staff. Were you made aware of hitman allegations? And he goes, yeah, allegations were made. Now, here's the important thing here. 2 different reports of a hitman were made. One by somebody overseas that contacted us, and then we were at a county meeting and a report was put into our hands and they did nothing. And then we forced them to do something and report it, and they told us, nope, nothing wrong there. And they asked us not to talk about it again, which we haven't. The second one, which nobody is talking about, is Shara contacted them and said, LIEnette and Crook are looking to get a hitman to kill Jeremy. And they ignored her. So they want to keep focusing on the one that was the overseas guy that contacted us and send an email. And then their office secretary, bald dude, you remember his name? Tummins! Oh yeah, Tummins. He puts it in my hands. They keep referring to that. They're all neglecting what Shara contacted them with.
That one has been swept under the rug.
He's asked by Justin, why haven't LIEnette and Crook been arrested? And
wait, can I say something?
You're going to no matter what,
okay,
so you might as well.
So when he gets on the screen in his plaid shirt, it looks like he's driving.
And the
right?
judge says, are you driving?
And the judge asked him, are you driving? He goes, no, ma'am. And then the car starts moving and driving. So is he lying to the judge, or is he a passenger? Because he's clearly driving in a vehicle. Okay, so you can go ahead.
Why haven't they been arrested? He goes on to say there's been no knowledge of probable cause of violations. Okay. He goes, have Levy County Sheriff ever seen anything like this? He goes, no, this is pretty unusual. And he goes on to state, just like McIntyre did, that these complaints come from Jeremy Hales because he's generating social media traffic to my own benefit, to Mr. Jeremy Hales' benefit. In other words, he completely and totally, yet again, showed his bias, believing the ridiculousness of this is about making money on YouTube. Except we have legal civil protection orders.
Yes, and a public records request was made. LIEnette has called at least 100 times. If you count up the number of times that Jeremy has called to make a complaint, it's definitely not 100 times. They forget to point that out too. That line between LIEnette and Crook, it's been over 100 times.
Shows his bias. Levy County Sheriff will do nothing for us. They go, he's a YouTuber. Northern YouTuber in an interracial relationship. We ain't doing nothing.
He does state that his title is undersheriff and legal advisor, and that he's had 28 years total of experience. He was a deputy from 96 to 2004, and then became the undersheriff January of 2013. How he got that role, I have no idea.
He's then cross-examined, and Eli puts him in his place so eloquently. I'm sitting there, I'm going, get him, Eli. And I whispered to Eli beforehand, I was like, you need to destroy this man in preparation for federal court. And Eli goes, I got this. He goes up and he says, what's probable cause? You keep talking about probable cause. There's no probable cause. Would you define probable cause as a reasonable as a reasonable individual sees that a crime, and he goes, no. Probable cause is reasonable for a law enforcement officer to believe that a crime is being committed and being committed by the suspect. That's what probable cause is. And he goes on to say, are you aware that there are civil protection orders from Ohio in regards to LIEnette Preston and John Cook? He goes, that's my understanding. Have you read them? Yes.
Well, he said not recently. I haven't read them.
He said not recently, but yes, I've read them in the past. And he says, you are aware that they must stay, not communicate, and be within 500 feet of Jeremy Hales and George.
It prohibits them.
He goes, I believe. And he goes, you also know that it states that wherever they're at, if they are there at the same time, no matter who's there first, it doesn't matter, they have to leave.
Immediately.
He goes, I believe it also states that. And he goes, oh, okay, so when they were parked outside of Town Hall, and if they were parked outside of Town Hall and then George shows up, they would have to leave, right? He goes, yep, that would be a violation. They would have to leave. Oh, so if LIEnette offered your department a video and saying so afraid to George, she should be arrested, correct? He goes, I'm not sure what you're referring to. And he goes, so if LIEnette rolls down the window, speaks, and to George, she should be arrested based on the CPO, correct? He goes, I believe so. Huh.
He said, do you understand no communication means no communication? And he says, I believe so.
I believe so. I believe it does. Eli goes, your office was given a video and you did not arrest LIEnette Preston. Would you admit that your office made a mistake? He goes, no, sir. I would not go to that point. I would not state that we have made a mistake. That's interesting because you just said if any communication was made that they should be arrested, that is a violation of the civil protection order. So what's the probable cause of arrest? And he goes into this whole totality thing. It is not based on an incident. It is based on the totality of the circumstances. In other words, Jeremy Hales and George are YouTubers, and I think they are filming to make money. Therefore, I'm not going to arrest. Even though the law, both state and federal, say I must arrest. Even though I just told Eli that is an arrestable offense, I'm not going to arrest based on the totality of the circumstances. Do you communicate with Dan Owens? He says, yes. Did Dan Owens send you emails? Probably, but I don't know. Really, because it just so happens I have an email here of Dan Owens saying that he wants to investigate perjury. Are you aware of this email? Butt champ. Guy who's teaching Sunday school to adults in Bronson First Baptist says, I don't recall. Complete and total lie. He knows all about this in federal court right now with Dan Owens. He knows all about the emails. He has copies of, I've been sending it. Randy has sent it. Eli has sent it.
He says he doesn't recall, but he's not surprised that we have a copy of that email.
It's extending the middle finger. Is that communication? And Butt Chump says, yes. So if John Cook extended the middle finger to Jeremy Hales, would that be a violation? I think it would be. If he placed a yard sign out there saying Otter Creek coward, would that be communication? He goes, well, that would depend on the purpose of the sign.
He says,
I guess. Well, when people put signs in their yard, that's to communicate something. He goes, yes, I guess, but I don't know the intent. Are you aware that they have already been found in contempt of court and guilty because of the Otter Creek coward and OCC's Otter Creek coward and they're communicating? He goes, this is the first time that you have ever seen an Ohio civil protection order. And he goes, yes, they're different than ours.
In the 28 years, he's never seen in Ohio. So we'll start.
Look, what is your hesitation? Why are you not enforcing? By the way, Eli is on fire. I can't do it like Eli did it. Eli is on fire, and Beecham is just spinning, and he knows he's caught, and they all know they're going to federal court. And he goes, what's your hesitation to enforce the civil protection orders? And he goes, lack of probable cause. Eli goes, you just told me that communication, signs, middle finger is all probable cause. Why haven't they been arrested? Well, we determined there was no probable cause. You're not discussing the totality of the circumstances. Eli goes, a third-party violation, is that probable cause? He goes, yes.
Third-party harassment as well.
But Chump says, my opinion is Jeremy Hales is doing this for internet traffic. And Eli goes, regardless of what he's doing it for, you should enforce it's the law. It's your obligation, your duty to enforce under totality. If there is communication, it is a violation. Is that correct? And Butt Chump turns his whole answer from before and says, no, sir.
At this point, even her attorney is face palming.
Justin is face palming at McIntyre and Butt Chump and literally going, these idiots.
I can't believe
Justin could not believe these idiots. Yeah. Justin is looking at us going, he's face palming. He can't believe it. He literally can't believe it. None of us can. I'm looking at Eli. Eli's looking at me. George is looking at me. We're looking at Justin. We're all looking at each other going, what in the world is happening?
He can't be that dumb.
Even their defense lawyer could not believe what McIntyre and Butt Chump were saying under oath, knowing it's going to be used in federal court. Knowing I had already given testimony that Levy County Sheriff was being sued in federal court for violating my civil rights. And Justin is sitting there going, shut up, shut up, shut up. He knows they're being sued. I already said it.
Do you think he's regretting allowing them to come on and testify as a witness now?
I don't think he thinks it was a good idea.
Yeah.
It was great for us.
Yeah.
Oh, it was incredible. It was incredible. The judge, oh man, if you could just see her face. At this point in time, this is getting towards the end of the day. And the magistrate says, listen, we're gonna have to continue to another day.
Yeah. At this point, it's 3:04
in
the afternoon. She
asked Justin, do you have more witnesses? Because it's his courtroom now. We started with Eli. It's now his courtroom to call witnesses. And he goes, yeah, I have 3 more witnesses. No, 4. And he goes, I have Tina Haley, which she'll be thrown out. Bruce Maskin, geez, I can't wait to get him under oath and use that in the courts against him. This is going to be incredible.
We welcome that one, too.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't see that coming, but we welcome
There's
it.
no way it's going to be Butt Chump or McIntyre. Well, Deuce. It may beat them. And he goes, no, I've got 4. Tina and Deuce and LIEnette and Crook, which obviously that's going to happen. So basically, there's a continuance. The civil protection orders are still in effect. Mm-hmm. Our next court date is March 6th, 9 a.m. But she put the extension of the civil protection orders all the way through April 20th. So she stated, particularly to LIEnette and Crook, which, by the way, Crook is outside. He's outside on his phone. And she states to them and says, you understand that this protection order is still in effect until April 20th. And the reason why she did that, she said, listen, we're coming back March 6th, but I'm extending it to April 20th until my decision is made. So even after my decision, there is still in effect. Mm-hmm. If I say no, then it goes away. If I say yes, it continues on, which we're asking 5 years, all guns taken away, and we're asking for jail time. And she says, do you understand, John Cook? He says, yes, Your Honor. And LIEnette says, absolutely, Your Honor. And then Preston, LIEnette, as this is all ending a conclusion, she starts more garbage and talking to Harley or something. And the judge again says, Preston, be quiet.
And she rolls her eyes and says, I'm sorry. But she didn't give it.
I haven't done her. A 6-year-old who still isn't potty trained.
It's not her daughter.
And is in horrific conditions that needs to be saved. Court is concluded, hopefully, March 6, 2025.
26.
Okay. Just feels like we're going back in time. Because that idiot Justin put videos from the last hearings that he got from FLEASA. Back to the Future.